Hello viewers, I'm Ron Grant coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Thank you so much for your time. A happy Tuesday's wish to each and every one of you. Jache Adams, the Honorable Jache Adams, was elected to Bermuda's Parliament in October 2020, representing constituency 19, Pembroke West. This provided to be a memorable victory as it made him the first person from his party to represent this area. MP Adams was educated at Warwick Academy before obtaining his Bachelor of Commerce degree from St. Mary's University. Upon graduating, MP Adams began his career as a management trainee at Butterfield Bank, where he worked for 12 years in both their Bermuda and Cayman Islands offices, having left as an assistant vice president in their corporate banking department. Currently, MP Adams serves as an advisor and parliamentary private secretary to the Minister of Finance, manages several real estate properties, and recently founded a small local IT business. MP Adams is the former chairman of the National Sports Center, and with his very strong passion for entrepreneurship, is the current chairman of the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation, which is the government's, of course, source of providing resources and support to local entrepreneurs. MP Adams remains an active member in the community through his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, Inc., and recently was a math tutor for a local GED program for adults. He is a father and soon-to-be husband. MP Adams, we are talking all things as it pertains to Bermuda's economic development. Of course, we're looking at a special housing grant program for which he was instrumental in providing. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Good job there, brother. All right. I'm surprised you're here.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
Charles, it's been 60 years.
I wish it was 60 more.
Let it go.
No, you know what you did.
It was just ice cream. But you know what? It was delicious.
What?
We're like a family get-together without all the family drama.
What you gonna do?
CG Insurance. Good like that.
Viewers, welcome back, and thank you so much for sticking with us. As promised, I am joined by the Honorable Jache Adams. MP Adams, welcome to 284 Media, and thank you so much for your time.
Ron, I just wanted to certainly extend my thanks and appreciation to you for having me and for your listening public at the British Virgin Islands. I appreciate it.
You're most welcome. The pleasure is all mine. I have to ask you, you are presently, as I mentioned in the introduction, the Parliamentary Private Secretary, of course, to the Minister of Finance. Now, one of the things that came up, of course, in my research, it simply says that the Parliamentary Private Secretary is a member of Parliament in the United Kingdom who acts as an unpaid assistant to the minister or shadow minister. Really, they are selected from a group of backbenchers to be the eyes and ears of that minister within the House of Commons. What has your experience been like so far, PM Adams, being a PPS?
To be honest, it's been an enjoyable experience, a learning experience. You may or may not know, but the Minister of Finance is also the Premier of the country, so it is also a challenging experience, keeping pace with the Minister of Finance, whether it is working on budgets, whether it's working on COVID-related matters, things of that nature. But also, it is also focused on being or responsible for watching out on his blind spots. So it's important for me to know what he's focused on, but it's equally as important for me to know what he's not focused on so that I can be there to step in.
I completely understand. Now, you're presently representing constituency number 19. I'd like to speak a little bit about a legacy. You have a very unique situation. Just for a minute, you are the grandson of former PMP Erwin Adderley, who represented the very same constituency as you are now representing. What does that mean to you?
It is tremendous. I mean, from the perspective of my interest in politics, really was started with him. I lived with my grandparents for many years, and I can remember as a little boy the politics being a part of the kitchen table conversation. I remember quite often politicians would come to the house, or we'd go over to other politicians' house, and it would just always be a topic of conversation. So that sort of sparked the interest in politics. He was a representative of constituency 19 from 1997 to 2003. And it is interesting because I remember being a little boy out there canvassing with him, meeting constituents, hearing their concerns, and now what an experience it has become to watch life come full circle, because now it is he who is canvassing with me.
Truly remarkable. So congratulations, first of all, on your success within that constituency. From your canvassing and interacting with residents, what are some of the major concerns and issues affecting residents within constituency number 19?
Great question. So it's an interesting thing because, and this is the true joy of being a politician, it is because different things matter to different people. And what I mean is, I often will knock on a door and someone will say, you know what, we need to focus on the economy. If you focus on the economy, everything will cascade and sort itself out from there. I will go and I'll knock on another door and someone will say, we need to focus on education. If we fix the education, the children and their knowledge base will grow and the country will be all the better for it. And then I will knock on another door and someone will say, I'm not worried about all of that. There's a pothole that's been outside my driveway. And if you could just fix that, I would be so much appreciative. And these are all real concerns to each individual. And no concern should be taken lightly. But specific to constituency 19, there's an area where we call pontoons or Spanish Point Park that is often the area where boats become derelict, and that becomes a growing eyesore for people. So we're proud to have addressed that. There's a number of access to public beaches, also some safety concerns that we've gotten addressed and sorted. And so the work continues, whether they be from a countrywide concern or getting that pothole fixed. It is nonstop and it varies from person to person.
I completely understand. Recently, you were a part of the group alongside the Honorable Prime Minister and, of course, the Minister of Finance in really instrumenting the government of BCB Mortgage Guarantee Program. I want you to break this program down for us and its impact on the territory of Bermuda.
Absolutely. So I think for me, the key place to start is in our 2020 election manifesto, our platform, where we said, and we were committed to building a nation of owners. And the reason why I always like to start there is because it speaks to, for me, it speaks to a mindset. Far too often, too many Bermudians recognize or see themselves as the customers, the tenant, the employees, and we're not seeing ourselves as owners. And so we need to change that mindset so that we become the owners, the decision makers, and the controllers of the assets in this country. And so the question then becomes, how do we get more Bermudians on the property ladder? How do we get more Bermudians to own a piece of the rock? And so what we then did was recognize that two key barriers to entry into the property market is the overall down payment or the down payment requirement, but as well as a growing or escalating cost of borrowing. And so it took quite some time. We went and spoke to a number of the local banks, and we were proud to have come to an agreement with Bermuda Commercial Bank on what we call the Mortgage Guarantee Program. And so effectively, what this program does is for the government has agreed to guarantee a portion of individual mortgages. And in exchange for the government's guarantee, the BCB has agreed to reduce or provide a discounted rate towards the mortgages. And so what we can say and what we're proud of is the fact that what we say industry standard interest rates, if you look at just across the board from bank to bank, the average cost of borrowing in mortgages, the Bermuda Commercial Bank has now offered 2% lower than that, 2.5% lower than that. And so this is significant savings to people of Bermuda, whether it be, obviously it depend on the size of the mortgage, but we're talking hundreds of dollars a month that this is providing relief for. And that is just on the monthly repayments. Also, as I said, there's two key barriers. It's the interest rate, but it's also the down payment. And so what happens is the average standard down payment requirement in Bermuda is around 20%. And so
Okay.
if I'm just throwing round numbers out there, if a person were to look for a $500,000 house, they have to come up with 100,000 first. And so that often becomes a non-starter because the person sees it quite insurmountable to be able to
Yes.
come out with $100,000. And so what we've also been able to arrange with BCB is they've now lowered that requirement to 10%. So for that same house, instead of $100,000 you would need for the down payment, you would only need 50. And so this is the government being able to step in and not only allow individual or make it easier for individuals to get in the property ladder, but then make it more affordable for you to sustain it by lowering the interest rate. And so it is huge accomplishment that we collectively are proud for. I know I'm often given the kudos and the credit for being the driving force, but as a member of the government, I just look at it as me doing my part in seeing that the people of Bermuda are benefiting.
I understand. And now, do you or are you able to put a number of persons, a figure as to the number of persons that have benefited or will initially be able to benefit from this program?
Yes. So, as I said, so we are guaranteeing a portion of the mortgages. The entire program is a $50 million program. And so we estimate that we will have affected around 250 to 275 people. Now, if I can, as much as I think part of the emphasis also is that this is a pilot program. And so it's always great when you say, this will help 250 people. But then at some point we recognize that there will be a 251st person. And so what we also have to continue to articulate is the fact that this is a pilot program and that the government maintains focus on reducing mortgage rates for the entire country. But whilst we're focused on that, we've launched the mortgage guarantee program to allow relief for specific individuals. And so the program is rolled out or will be rolled out in 3 phases.
Okay.
We're currently in the first phase, and the first phase is first-time home buyers under 40 and under. So those who are 40 and under, and you are a first-time home buyer, you have first eligibility to enter into the program.
Wonderful. I want to thank you so much for that, and of course, congratulate you and your administration on allowing persons in Bermuda, residents, to have a stronger and better opportunity at home ownership. Something that has affected us all across the region, of course, due to the global situations across the world, are the impacts of cost of living. Of course,
Yes.
this would affect home ownership and persons' ability to be able to finance such projects. What other measures are being put in place from an economic perspective in Bermuda to assist persons with the high cost of living?
Sure. And so the high cost of living, as you can appreciate, is probably the primary concern that many Bermudians have. And because much of the issues that cascade from that stem from the high cost of living. And so the question then becomes, and we can say, supply chain issues, we can say war in Ukraine, we can say COVID, we can say a number of things that are the root cause of this increasing rate of inflation. But the reality is many people in Bermuda, and I'm sure in the British Virgin Islands, do not care the cause and the root cause of the rising inflation. They want to know what the government is doing about it. And
Very
so one
true.
of the things that we are proud of and focused on is the first course of action was we reduced payroll taxes for 75% of the people, the workers in the country. We've reduced the land tax, eliminated land tax for all charities and registered care homes. We have reduced the vehicle licensing fees. We've increased pensions for all pensioners in at the rate of inflation. We've also and one of the biggest announcements outside of the mortgage guarantee program is we've also now eliminated duty on 21 items, grocery items that are being imported, and have brokered a deal, if you will, with the grocers, with the wholesalers, that for those specific items, they will offer a 10% discount on those specific items. And so what we've also said is, as much as we are proud of the things that we've accomplished, and we have sort of have a tagline, if you will, that says relief now and more relief to come. And so these are the things that we've done and we've accomplished, but it's more to assure the people of the public that we will not rest on our laurels, that we will continue to work and provide more relief to the people of this country.
I completely understand. Now, you have always had a passion for entrepreneurship. You're currently the chairman of the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. You also just founded your very own IT company. So we're going to get to that. But in speaking of entrepreneurship and your zest for that, speak a little bit about the role as chairman of the Bermuda Economic Development Corporation. What exactly is that corporation targeted at doing?
Sure. So the BEDC is an awesome group of people. They are a government quango, so they receive government funding, and their primary objective is to provide resources, supporting, and training for small and medium-sized enterprises. And so, in many phases, we are popularly known as the institute that provides small-term financing, or at the very least provides a guarantor for small and medium-sized businesses to ultimately fulfill their dreams. But we are far more than just an avenue for financing. The BEDC provides training, it provides platforms, vendor venues, things of that nature. So it is recognizing what our entrepreneurs, our local entrepreneurs, are telling us that they need in order for their business to thrive. And it is doing all that we can to create an environment to allow them to do so. And so the passion, and I'm appreciative to be the chairman of the BEDC because, as you stated, I have a tremendous passion for entrepreneurship. I'm a believer in, as I stated earlier, the concept of being owners. And so it is being able to call something yours, watching it develop, work hard, and watching it flourish is something that I'm passionate about, not just for myself, but also people who share that same passion.
Understood. Now, speaking of watching something flourish and having it of your own, tell us about your recently founded IT company.
So the company is called 13 Inc. I run it with my fiance. At the moment, we focus on building mobile apps. So people contact us and say, and describe the types of apps that they want to use, and we have relationships and we work with developers in order for them and to see it come to fruition. We've worked on a number of apps, whether they range from delivery apps to laundry apps to even compliance apps. And so that continues to be the focus. As I said, it's something that helps to be a joint venture with my fiance and I, but it's an enjoyable experience. It's what I started just before politics, so I'm not as deeply involved as I would like to be. I certainly have handed over the reins, but I certainly am involved from a managerial perspective, direction, and involvement. But certainly, if and whenever the political career ends, it is certainly something that I look to dive back into.
Understood. Now, I want to speak about encouragement as you seek to really envision and encourage persons from the business community. What are some of the needs when you look at the Bermuda economy? Oftentimes, entrepreneurs tend to not have a canvas look. They tend to not really observe what are some of the business needs that are truly in demand within the community. From your seat, what are some of the areas that entrepreneurs in Bermuda should perhaps focus on as it pertains to the needs of businesses?
Sure. You know, we often speak about COVID, and quite rightly so. We speak about COVID from a negative perspective. What I can say from the BDC perspective, and even from an entrepreneurial perspective, is it has actually become a positive. And what we've seen is an uptick on the number of people who are interested in entrepreneurship. And the reason I say that is because COVID has resulted in increased unemployment, has made people redundant or unemployed. And so it has now been an excuse for persons to now take those redundancy packages or take whatever savings they had and follow their dream. And so it is important for us, and I would certainly encourage anyone that if you have this dream, that you have that passion, I often encourage Bermudians to reach out to the BEDC for the training, for the financing, for the resources and things of that nature. So to answer your question, in terms of what are the raised concerns that many Bermudians or local entrepreneurs have emphasized, I think it is the startup. It's taking it from a vision, taking it from just an idea that they had, and actually turning it into something in practice, and then being able to build from that. So what we've done, one of the things that we've done in the BDC is started an incubator program, which is in various spots on the island, where persons, local entrepreneurs can come and they can have an office space with free Wi-Fi, free phone, just free access, free boardrooms and meeting rooms, internet, things of that nature, so that they can be able to focus more on their business and allow us to handle the administration side, and particularly the startup, a lot of the auxiliary startup costs, and allow them to take their business over to the next step. And the other thing is we do business plan trainings. Many people have now, have grand ideas, but they aren't being able, but they don't, or they lack the skills to articulate it, to put it in papers, to understand risk versus understand the risk and how to mitigate those risks, how to be able to project and understand expenses and things of that nature and cash flow. And so it's one of those things, and I'm sure many people can attest to in the British Virgin Islands, is that we often have great ideas in our head. And so it is only when we put it in paper that we understand the true risks that are involved and the true sacrifice that it takes to get it into motion. And so that's one of the things that we continue to be advocates for, and certainly available to help entrepreneurs in that particular space.
I understand. Honorable Jache Adams, I want to thank you so much for your time and to really allowing or adding to the conversation where we continue to connect the regions. A lot of the issues that may be facing you and your residents in Bermuda are not isolated. We face many of them here as well in the Virgin Islands, and I do believe that the conversation continues to connect us as a region. So thank you so much for your time in raising awareness on the number of initiatives that are taking place through your administration, for which you are part of. We wish you much success, and we'll continue to keep you posted, and of course continue the dialogue. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Ron, for having me. I really appreciated the conversation. And if I had to leave you on a note, I certainly welcome you to Bermuda, and I will certainly confirm that I certainly will be a visitor of the British Virgin Islands in the near future.
Wonderful. Viewers, that's all the time we have. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Bye-bye.